Galactic Warship attacks human colony, Earth's answer, erase them all. Part 1, Ashes on Varela. Please like and subscribe, and comment where you are watching from. The sky over Varela had been cobalt blue for centuries. The human colony thrived in peace under its twin suns, with hydrofarms stretching out like green veins across its fertile plains. Children played on solar glass rooftops, laughing in low gravity, unaware that their home had just been marked for extermination. It began with a whisper in orbit. Unidentified object dropping from FTL. Vectors tight. Real tight, said Lieutenant Hensley, peering at the blip on her scope. Her voice cracked over the comms. Military, asked Governor Malek, the civilian leader of Varela, as he crossed the observation deck inside the Skyspire Command Center. Too big for any trade vessel. Heat signatures off the charts. It's. The rest was static. Then silence. The sky turned black in seconds. Clouds didn't gather, space itself dimmed, blotting out the suns. The silhouette of the Asari dreadnought, Threxulan, emerged from the gloom. It wasn't just a ship. It was a fortress, kilometers of armored hull, ridged like bone, adorned with glowing runes of some ancient language none on Varela had ever seen. It opened fire. No warning, no demand. Just annihilation. A beam of impossible energy pierced the colony's atmosphere and split a hydrodam into atomized mist. Screams filled the emergency channels. One by one, districts blinked out. The Skyspire shook as sonic booms hit it like fists of a god. Elsewhere, aboard the Threxulan, Commander Varkal Solthuan stood tall, his 6 eyes scanning the destruction below. His voice clicked and rasped in his native tongue. These creatures built a nest too close to Sector 47. They defile what was Asari space 1,000 cycles ago. We are not at war with the humans, one of his bridge advisors warned. The Accord. Varkal turned, swiping the air. The advisor crumpled, skull crushed by kinetic pressure. I answer not to the Accord. The humans expand without restraint. They will flood the stars unless we teach them. Fear is the only boundary they understand. Below, fire spread through the capital city of Ardon. People ran, scattered like ants under magnification. On Varela, Captain Noah Reyes burst through the rubble of a collapsed tower, bleeding from her scalp. Her UNMC armor was cracked, its systems barely functional. Around her were remnants of her squad, 3 soldiers, 1 medic, and a terrified civilian boy clutching a broken tablet. Is it the Scourge? Gasped Corporal Dia. No, Noah said grimly, her voice gravelly. Worse. It's not pirates. It's military. Alien. Organized. Why us? We're humans, she answered bitterly. We exist. They moved quickly through the ruins. Drones buzzed above, scanning survivors. Reyes shot one down with her last rail shot. It spun into the side of a building and exploded. They reached the emergency uplink station, hidden under a centuries-old stone temple, one of the few historical sites Varela had preserved from Earth's colonial outreach. Reyes keyed in the emergency relay. Earth Command. This is Captain Noah Reyes of Varela. We are under attack. Repeat, under attack. Unknown hostile species, heavily armed. Civilian casualties extreme. I don't know how long we have. Get this to Earth. Tell them they're trying to erase us. She hit send, not knowing if the message would even breach the jamming net that wrapped the sky. But it did. Earth, Luna Defense Corps, 3 days later. Admiral Chen Okoye stood in silence. The footage from Varela played again, burning fields, people vaporized mid-run, orbital scans of the Threxulan with dimensions far exceeding any known Asari vessel. Time stamp, she asked. 3 days ago, the AI responded. Message took 76 hours to breach solar relay nets. Casualties? 93% of Varella's population unaccounted for. Who authorized this attack? Unknown. Isari Command denies involvement. But telemetry from Varela confirms Isari tech, possibly rogue. Chen folded her arms. Doesn't matter. Behind her, General Hawkins, a man who made Earth's wars look like precision exercises in extinction, stepped forward. We've been trying peace for 40 years. But if a warship like that can wipe out a whole colony in a day. Chen turned to him. It's not just a war crime. It's a challenge. And Earth doesn't lose, Hawkins growled. Then we answer. She tapped a code on her console. The screen changed to a dark hangar buried beneath the moon's surface. Massive. Silent. Awaiting command. Project Oblivion. Earth's response wasn't diplomatic. It was total. Part 2, Earth's Shadow Awakens. The hangar lights flared to life, piercing decades of dust and silence. Beneath the lunar bedrock, in Hangar Kilo 9, rested ESV Revenant. Earth's final contingency. A dreadnought the size of a city, born not for war, but for vengeance. Status check, Admiral Chen ordered. Oblivion systems green. AI core waking. Weapon array primed. Engines fueled, responded the technician. Revenant is combat ready. A low rumble echoed as turbines spun. The Revenant's fusion heart roared back to life. General Hawkins stood at the viewport. We never deployed it during the Orion rebellions. We never needed to. But now. This isn't just about Varela, Chen said, voice tight. It's about sending a message to the galaxy. We tried coexistence. They gave us genocide. On Varela, 3 days post-attack, the sky was still dark from debris and plasma fire. Captain Noah Reyes was barely conscious, holed up in a cold crater with a cracked breathing mask and 2 remaining soldiers, Dia and medic Tomas Aaron. The boy, Kalen, hadn't spoken since the day of the attack. What's Earth doing? Dia whispered. Praying they got our message, Noah murmured, her lungs burning. Then the sky parted. A shockwave sent dust curling into the air. A sonic boom followed, sharp, deep, metallic. Then a second. Then a third. From the black sky descended a ship unlike anything in the galaxy. Bristling with plasma coils, railguns, and energy weapons that glowed like white suns. The Revenant. It hovered just above the wreckage of Ardon, casting an enormous shadow. Survivors peeked out from craters and ruins. For the first time in days, they saw something human in the sky. Noah's calm crackled. This is ESV Revenant. Earth has heard your cry. Stand by. A drone descended beside them, deployed from Revenant's undercarriage. Medical pods unfolded, scanning each of them. Nanites hissed into Reyes's wounds, sealing arteries and bone fractures in seconds. The boy blinked up at the drone. A single red eye stared back. Welcome home, it said. In orbit, aboard the Threxulin, alarms screamed. Unidentified vessel. Human origin. Energy levels off scale. Varkal Solthuan turned to the view screen. The Revenant was moving. Faster than anything he had seen. Prepare all weapons. Focus shields forward. It's already locked onto us, his comm officer cried. We're inside its targeting lattice. The Revenant fired. Not a missile. Not a laser. Something far older. A gravitic lance, bending mass and light, it tore across the void and struck the Threxulin like a spear hurled by a god. The dreadnought reeled. Its left engines vaporized. Armor melted. Dozens of decks vented into vacuum. Inside the Revenant's command deck, Chen's eyes burned with resolve. Target engines. Then bridge. Fire, Hawkins ordered. In seconds, Threxulin was crippled. But it wasn't dead. Varkle bled from a gash across his thorax. Half blind, he activated internal overrides and opened emergency wormhole drives. We will retreat. Return with reinforcements. No, you won't, came a voice, from inside their comms. The Revenant had hacked them. Human code flooded Asari systems. Then came the final weapon, a localized quantum disintegration pulse. It didn't explode. It unmade. Atoms lost their cohesion. Space folded inward. The Threxulan collapsed in a silent, blinding implosion. No wreckage. No survivors. Just nothing. Back on Varela, silence spread across the ruins. Then came cheers. Shouts. Cries of relief. People wept openly as Revenant drones fanned out, healing, rebuilding, restoring air and power to the domes. Captain Reyes stood upright, aided by a prosthetic exosleeve already 3D, printed by one of the drones. She looked up at the behemoth above. We sent a distress call, she whispered, and Earth sent a god. High orbit, 1 hour later. Chen stood in the command chamber of the Revenant. Reports streamed in, Varela stabilizing, 14,000 survivors confirmed, medbays in full operation. But she didn't smile. Hawkins. How many systems are listening to this broadcast? Almost the whole quadrant. Half the Accords watching right now. Good. She activated the mic. This is Admiral Chen Okoye of the Earth Systems Navy. We received no warning. No ultimatum. No diplomacy. Just fire. So let me make Earth's position clear. She leaned closer to the camera. We are not prey. We are not subjects. And we do not forgive. Attack one of our colonies, any of them, and we will come. Not to negotiate. Not to retaliate. But to erase you. She cut the feed. On a dozen alien homeworlds, leaders sat in stunned silence. The humans had always been ambitious, yes. But now they were angels of vengeance. And the galaxy had just seen what Earth was truly capable of. Part 3, The Accord Breaks. A week after the destruction of the Threxulan, the galaxy burned with unease. In the Accord's Prime Assembly Hall, orbiting the gas giant Tau VSA, representatives from 59 species gathered in spiraling rings of translucent platforms. Their languages intertwined in a hum of biotranslation, but no one spoke for long. All eyes turned toward the empty seat once belonging to the Asari. And toward the human ambassador, Elias Rain, who stood calmly before them. Is this what Earth has become? Demanded Zetrak of the Kaldur, voice wet and metallic. You unleash a planetary-class dreadnought without warning. You destabilize the balance. Rain stepped forward. We responded to an unprovoked massacre. Varela was a civilian colony. Still. Your retaliation annihilated one of the most powerful vessels in known space. A vessel, Rain interrupted, that opened fire on unarmed cities. Children. Hospitals. Hydrofarms. It bombarded a planet without warning. And let's be clear, Earth's restraint ended the moment your vaunted Accord refused to condemn the attack. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. From the far arch, a cloaked figure limped into view. Ambassador Zaltaith, the Asari representative, missing one mandible and walking with a biosplint. I was not informed of Commander Varkle's mission, Zaltaith rasped. He acted on his own. A rogue commander fielding a dreadnought? Rain said, voice sharp. You expect us to believe that? Zaltaith said nothing. Rain's gaze swept across the assembly. Then Earth is withdrawing from the Accord. Effective immediately. We will no longer bind ourselves to treaties that mean nothing when one of our own burns. If the galaxy wants peace, it will have it. But if it wants war. He leaned in, whispering into the translator for the entire chamber to hear. Know that we're no longer holding back. Then he walked out. Earth, Tycho War Council Room. They've begun mobilizing fleets, Chen reported. 3 Accord systems have put their navies on alert. The Varnathi have issued a statement claiming Earth is unbalanced. They're scared, Hawkins replied. They should be. A hologram flickered to life, a red dwarf system, distant and quiet. Recon probe from Karthus 4 confirms Asari movement, said Chen. Another dreadnought, under construction. Bigger than Threxulan. Same command language, same hull structure. We strike before it's complete, Hawkins said immediately. We'll be condemned. Maybe even face a unified Accord warfront. Let them come. We'll handle them all. Chen didn't answer at first. Then, the Revenant can't be everywhere. If this escalates into full war, then we unleash all of it. She looked up. You mean the Oblivion Fleet? Hawkins gave a thin smile. Let them see what Earth was too afraid to deploy the first time. Varela, Reclamation Zone 14. The ground was turning green again. Captain Noah Reyes walked across the remains of Ardon, watching reconstruction drones stack smart bricks and reweave biodomes. She passed a group of children drawing Earth flags on walls of replated shelters. One of them was Kalen. He looked up at her with wide eyes. Are the monsters coming back? Reyes knelt. No. Earth won't let them. But they were so big. Bigger than anything I ever saw. So are we, she said gently. You just haven't seen us angry before. Behind her, Corporal Dia approached with a data pad. Command wants to promote you. Full field commission. Noah blinked. I didn't save anyone. You survived. Led. Held us together. Reyes looked out at the sky. I don't care about rank. Just tell them, if the fight's coming, I want in. Outer Rim, Karthus 4 shipyard. In the darkness beyond the star's flickering light, the half-built Asari warship floated like a dying leviathan. Its belly exposed, defense systems offline. Engineers scattered across scaffolds, unaware of the ship's final hour. The Revenant arrived in silence. One moment, stars. The next, shadow. Then the pulse cannons fired, crimson beams slicing through the ship's supports. Explosions erupted as antimatter fuel cells detonated. Secondary batteries stitched flame through worker bays, slagging reactors before they could activate. The entire shipyard went nova. A single encrypted message was transmitted moments later to Asari High Command. Second strike. Your hands stay clean. Ours do not. Earth broadcast, global feed. A tall woman in a dark uniform stood before billions. Civilian, soldier, diplomat, her face now known across hundreds of systems. Admiral Chen Okoye. This is not an expansion campaign, she said. Earth does not seek conquest. We want peace. But we are done asking. We built our homes in the stars. We bled for them. We will not run. We will not bow. Then came a line that echoed through the outer colonies and Accord systems alike. If you threaten our kind again, remember Varela, and remember that we erased them all. Part 4, Shadows over Sol. The stars around Sol burned a little brighter. Humanity had changed. Earth's colonies, once scattered and vulnerable, had pulled closer in purpose. No longer explorers. No longer the new species begging for a place among ancient empires. They were now something else. The Sol Defense Network, a web of weaponized satellites and orbital platforms, shimmered across the solar system like a steel halo. The Revenant, scarred but unbowed, hung in orbit beside Luna, while Earth's orbital yards churned day and night, producing gunships, battlecruisers, and something even darker. The Oblivion Fleet was awakening. Series Command Bunker, Deep Vault Meeting. Admiral Chen stood over a translucent map table with a dozen high-ranking officers. Nearby, General Hawkins, arms folded, stared at the swirling indicators, massive energy spikes on the far edge of Asari space. "Telemetry suggests another shipyard," said Chen. "Deeper this time. Shielded by a moon. Much bigger." "Retaliation," Hawkins growled. "They think we'll hesitate." One of the commanders, Admiral Tovik, cybernetically augmented and always simmering, leaned in. "We don't wait. We take Sol Fleet Alpha, the Revenant, and the new Akron-class dreadnoughts. Show them what fear really feels like." Chen nodded. "We will. But this time, we bring Reyes." Varela, Central Rebuild Dome. Noah Reyes stood under a half-constructed biodome, overseeing refugee movement. Her exosleeve buzzed, an encrypted comm request. She answered. "Captain Reyes. This is Admiral Chen." "Ma'am. You're being recalled." "Outside. Strategic Command. The galaxy's about to shift. And we need someone who's seen hell and kept moving. I'm not much of a politician." Chen's voice was low. "Good. We have enough of those. What we need now, is warriors." 3 days later, Mars orbit. Noah stood in the observation bay of the carrier ESV Acheron, eyes wide. The vessel was the sharpest thing she had ever seen. Bladed hull design, stealth reactive armor, and a spinal rail cannon the size of a space elevator. "You'll be leading the ground assault on Corliss Station," Chen briefed her. "Isari staging base. Shielded. Populated. Civilian-military hybrid. Rules of engagement?" Noah asked. Hawkins cut in. "No rules. Not this time." Reyes looked from one to the other. "And if civilians resist?" Chen's jaw tightened. "Then they've made their choice. Isari core system, Corliss Station." Corliss had once been a trading nexus. Now it was a fortress. Anti-orbital guns. Planetary shields. 3 defense fleets circling the moon's surface like vultures. When the Oblivion fleet arrived, they didn't announce themselves. They attacked. The Revenant exited warp at the edge of the defense net and unleashed a tidal barrage, gravitic ripples that tore frigates apart and slammed dreadnoughts into one another. The Acheron followed, a blur of black metal and glowing plasma, darting through the chaos like a predator. In the station control room, panic reigned. "They didn't even warn us. They don't warn anymore." Surface, Corliss outskirts. Reyes dropped from low orbit in a shock pod, her strike team in formation. The impact cratered the ground. Dust. Screams. Sirens. She rose, pulse rifle blazing, cutting down armed defenders who scrambled from bunkers. Dia landed nearby, clearing a flank with surgical precision. Tomas followed, medical drone at his side, administering triage to friend and foe alike, those who didn't shoot. A young Isari technician dropped her weapon and raised her hands. Reyes paused. For a moment. Then said, "Run. Tell the others. We're done being hunted." 6 hours later, Corliss Station falls. The battle wasn't long. Earth's soldiers moved with coordinated precision, years of doctrine and new tech perfected since Varela. The Revenant hovered overhead like judgment incarnate, firing only when necessary. Not to destroy, but to remind. At the station's core, Reyes planted the Earth flag beside a shattered control relay. She stared into a broadcast drone, bloodied and dust-covered. To every world watching, she said, voice hoarse, "This isn't a conquest. It's a warning. We tried peace. You gave us fire. So now we are the fire." Accord Emergency Summit, Deep Accord Space. The surviving Accord members were fracturing. Some demanded sanctions. Others wanted surrender. But a growing number sat in terrified silence, watching the videos from Corliss. The Asari seat was empty again. Until a new figure appeared. High Chancellor Varen, the new Asari leader, face grim. "We underestimated the humans," he admitted. "We mistook their kindness for weakness. We thought them children in armor." He looked across the chamber. "We were wrong. Earth is no longer rising. Earth has risen. And unless we change course, they will burn us all." Earth, Orbital Command broadcast. Admiral Chen stood before humanity once more. "Some will say we've gone too far. Others say we're just beginning." She stepped aside as the camera panned across Earth's fleet, spread in formation around the planet like a crown of blades. "We didn't ask for war. But if war comes again, our answer will be the same." Her voice grew cold. "Erase them all." Part 5, Fire from the Cradle. The Earth spun slowly beneath its iron halo. Sol bathed it in gold, unaware, or uncaring, that its children were now the most feared species in the galaxy. The Oblivion fleet orbited high above, silent and still for now. But Earth itself was alive, cities glowed with industry, domes on Mars shimmered in scarlet dusk, and the asteroid belts hummed with factories building things that had no name. Humanity wasn't done. They were just catching their breath. UNMC Central Command, Earth, Geneva Megaspire. Captain Noah Reyes stood before the Security Council in polished combat armor, the silver trim on her shoulder marking her as the hero of Virella. The hall was silent, not from awe, but from unease. She was no longer a survivor. She was a symbol. A warning. "You've become Earth's sword," said Counselor Asimov, his face pale. "And now the sword frightens the hand that holds it." "I didn't ask for that," she replied quietly. "No one ever does." Chen stood beside her, calm and unreadable. "The accord is breaking," said another voice, Director Imani from Deep Intel. "Species are pulling back, fortifying. Some are aligning with us quietly. Others are plotting to hit us before we grow stronger." Reyes folded her arms. "Then let them come. We've shown we're not afraid." "No," Chen said. "We've shown something worse. That we don't believe in second chances anymore." Isari Core World, Throne Chamber of Varen. High Chancellor Varen stood alone before the projection of the Earth fleet. His advisors had fled or been assassinated. Riots shook his lower cities. And yet, he stared into the image of the Revenant, and whispered. "They are what we once were." He tapped a datapad, sending a final encrypted signal across the galaxy. To Earth. Transmission received, Earth, 1:24 Universal Time Coordinated. Chen, Hawkins, Reyes, and Director Imani gathered as the signal played. It was Varen, tired, old, humbled. "You have beaten us. Not just with weapons, but with belief. You believed you had the right to exist. And you fought like it. That is something we forgot long ago." He took a breath. "We offer surrender. Not because we fear more battles, but because we finally understand what you are. You are the cradle species. The ones who crawled out of a death planet and into the stars, not to conquer, but to survive. And when survival was threatened, you transformed. We can't match that. No one can." His image flickered. Then ended. For days later, Interstellar Peace Summit, formerly the Accord. Earth's flag flew above every chamber. The Accord was renamed the Common Pact, with Earth as its central pillar. Not a ruler, but a reckoning. Some species chose isolation. Others integrated quickly, eager to survive. Earth didn't demand tribute. They demanded order. And memory. Memory of Virella. Virella, 20 years later. The twin suns once again warmed the green fields. Children ran through biodomes that now reached the clouds. They laughed on rooftops and played in anti-grav fields. A statue stood at the heart of the rebuilt capital. A woman in battle-scarred armor, one arm around a child, her other hand gripping a rifle planted into the soil. Captain Noah Reyes, guardian of humanity. Beneath her feet, etched in stone. They came to erase us. We erased their arrogance instead. Luna Archive, Historian Entry 5471A. The Galactic Warship that attacked Varela never sent a warning. But that's not what the galaxy remembers. They remember Earth's answer. They remember the Revenant. They remember the cradle world that gave birth to monsters, saints, and soldiers who, when asked if they would beg for peace, replied simply. Erase them all. The end.